was yesterday.
What mode?
They were
How were you served?
by the staff of the court. He called me.
All right. And when did you travel from Kisii to Nairobi?
I traveled tonight.
Thank you. You have told the senators that the information about the deployment of the 20 officers came to your knowledge on 29th of February 2024. The event itself...
Sorry, Council.
Yes.
There's an initial question that you have not understood clearly. Can you repeat about the traveling? Traveling from where I'm staying or from Kisii?
To Senate. From wherever you are to the Senate.
I traveled today morning.
Today morning.
From where I reside.
Thank you. You have indicated that the information about the deployment of the 20 officers to the deputy governor's home to arrest his brother came to your knowledge on 29th of February 2024.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
The event itself took place on 20th of December 2023.
Yes.
2 months apart.
Correct.
Now, as the head of this department, how is it that 20 officers would be deployed, taken from your department to a private assignment without your knowledge? Doesn't that mean that you are ineptitude, that you are not in charge of this department?
No, not at all. You see, this is an occurrence which is happening at the home of the deputy governor. And I'm learning it at the assembly when the motion is being tabled. And that is the first time I'm hearing about it. And as I said earlier, this is unusual because all operations of enforcement need to be reported to my office. And that's why I tasked my deputy to investigate this incident and report to me. And in the report the deputy gave me, he said, the reason why the sub-county administrator and the sub-county commander did not report is not very clear. And we have initiated disciplinary procedures against those officers.
So is it an issue of lack of diligence or competence from your part, or there was deliberate effort to conceal that occurrence?
I believe there could be deliberate effort to block us from getting the information.
Thank you. You have also indicated that you conducted preliminary investigations and there is a preliminary report to that effect.
Yes.
Are you able to tell the Honorable House the names of the 4 officers that you're claiming are assigned at the deputy governor's office doing odd jobs? What are their names?
I can confirm that the 4 officers are there, and these officers work in a regular basis. After 2 weeks, they are being replaced, and they are deployed from.
Are you able to tell us the names of those officers?
Yes.
Kindly go ahead.
All of them?
The 4 officers.
I have said the sub-county has 22 enforcement officers, and the duty roster is being done after a period of 2 or 1 or 2 weeks. So they keep on rotating.
So are you able to tell the names or you're not able to?
For now, I can't because the investigation is ongoing.
And the 20 officers, are you able to identify, apart from the commander?
Yes.
Are you able to identify the 20?
Yes, yes.
Are you able to supply the names?
Yes.
Are you able to supply the names now?
Then now, because they're not typed.
They're not typed, but you have the names.
I have the names.
Thank you. That's all for this witness, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Counsel for the Deputy Governor, your witness.
Mr. Speaker, sir, a preliminary issue, we've not been served with this report that is being referred to by this witness. If we can get a copy.
Counsel for the County Assembly, can you make available the copy of the report you're referring to?
With your guidance, Mr. Speaker, sir, we do have the reports. We are also seeing them for the very first time, but we are obliged to serve our colleagues and later make arrangements to supply it to the House.
Very well.
Thank you.
Now, Clerk, can you make that report available to honorable senators? Proceed, Council.
Yes, Mr. Oyagi,
Yes, sir.
you have stated you're the head of compliance,
The head of
enforcement and compliance.
enforcement compliance.
Yes. In acting capacity or permanently?
I'm in acting capacity.
An acting capacity. You serve under whose pleasure?
I serve county government of Kisii, not anybody.
Which is led by who?
The county government of Kisii is led by His Excellency, the governor.
The governor. So you serve at the governor's pleasure.
I serve for the county government of Kisii.
I will refer to the two reports. The three reports or two reports?
There should be three.
Okay. In a chronological manner, we start with the one from the 1st of March.
The 1st of March, correct.
You can refer to that one. Mr. Speaker and members of the House, I know you don't have the benefit of having the copies, but the questions I ask do not really go into the specifics. Can I proceed?
Proceed.
Yes, the letter of the 1st of March, 2024. You have it?
No, that's the copy I had, but you can proceed.
Yes, in that copy, do you indicate the officers who are mobilized and deployed to the governor's house?
At that time, it was an allegation.
No, do you indicate who these officers are? Their names are indicated?
I didn't indicate the names, but what I did, I gave instruction.
Simple question. Did you
Okay.
indicate their names?
No.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Kalwale, Dr. Kalwale.
Council, you are not addressing to individual senators.
Mr. Speaker,
Kindly cross-examine the witness.
most obliged. We go to the letter of the 4th of March. Does it indicate the 20 officers who are mobilized and deployed to the deputy governor's house?
It does not indicate, but it indicates that the officers are those who are attached to the Nyaliba Tache sub-county.
Does it indicate that letter?
It does not indicate the name of officers.
Okay. Does it indicate their current mobilization or location?
I believe it does.
You can refer to the same and show us where it does that.
The author of this letter says, indeed, on 20th December 2023, our enforcement officers, about 20, were mobilized and deployed to His Excellency Deputy Governor's home, led by the sub-county administrator. And this sub-county administrator is for Nyaliba Tache sub-county.
Yes, but does it say the 20 officers were actually from his unit? Does it say that?
The officer who is bringing this
No,
letter
it's a simple question. Does it say that, yes or no?
is in charge of the sub-counties.
Does it say these officers are from his sub-county? That is the question. No, nothing more.
Honorable Speaker, the author of this letter is not a
It's
sub-county.
either witness. You know, the very simple questions that attract either yes or a no.
Yes.
We proceed
I'm
so that we don't waste time.
I'm well guided, sir.
We go to the last report. This is the one you've made. Yes, so from that letter, is that a yes or no? Does it indicate where they're deployed?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. We go to the report of the 8th of March. Does it indicate the officers?
It does not indicate the name of officers.
It does not indicate the name of the officers who are deployed on the 20th of December? It does not.
It doesn't.
It doesn't indicate the names of the officers who have been deployed at the deputy governor's house as you allege?
It doesn't.
Okay. So there's no way for this assembly to know that their officers either deployed on the 20th of December or currently deployed at the deputy governor's house.
The House is able to know because
Is there a way to identify them from your reports?
I can supply the names.
No. As we stand here, is there a way to identify them?
No.
Okay. Yes, we move to the issue of the 4 officers who are deployed at the DG's house. Your testimony was that you learned of this before the proceedings, the impeachment proceedings.
Yes.
Okay. These officers were not sent or deployed there by yourselves.
I said they were not officially deployed because there's no any official document
So,
in our records.
so these officers are deployed to another place,
They are deplo-
or they are assigned another duty in the county.
You see, what I meant is that the officers are taken to do a distinct.
So, and in your department, are there officers who are not assigned to specific duties?
All officers are assigned specific duties.
Yes.
And with the letters.
Okay, so these 4 officers have been assigned duties elsewhere, and they are not doing those duties, but have moved to the deputy governors. That is your evidence?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to state that the officers the deployment must be documented.
But you're saying they're not deployed to the deputy
They're
governor.
deployed with no documentation.
What do you mean they're deployed without documentation?
Mr. Speaker, when deployment is done, there has to be an official deployment letter.
Okay. So these people who have been deployed with no letters, have you taken any disciplinary actions against them as their supervisor?
Of course, I have complained in writing to my supervisor.
Is that letter before this court, your complaint, before this tribunal?
No, Mr. Speaker,
No, it's not?
it's not.
Okay. So you said that about the allegations of deployment of 20 officers on the 20th of December. You only learned about it on the 29th of February.
Exactly.
Okay. So before that, were you aware of the motion again to impeach the deputy governor?
The motion I learned that after following the proceedings of the assembly.
On 29th. Before that, you did not know anything about that,
No.
that there's a
I
motion
do
going
not
on
work
in
at the
Kisii.
assembly.
You did not know.
I did not know.
Did you hear about any public participation with regards to the charges that were facing the deputy governor?
Mr. Speaker, I don't work at the assembly. I
No,
work
I'm saying, did you
externally.
hear as a person living and working in Kisii County, did you hear about it?
I heard there was public participation, but I didn't want to ask what was it about.
You didn't know what it was about,
Yeah.
even when it involved 20 of your officers,
Yeah,
allegedly.
My 20 of the officers, I learned it at the assembly.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hagai. I'll cede my remaining time to Senior Counsel Katwak again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, Mr. Hagai.
Good morning.
Yes. Now, it is your testimony to this Senate that where you stand is that the officers, both who went the 20 and the ones who are deployed from your record were not properly designated to do those respective things they did.
Yes.
Okay. And for purposes of making that contention to this Senate, you referred to a certain record, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was that record?
The report that I got from my deputy.
Okay. Now, when you say they were not deployed, is it a document or just a word of mouth from the ward admin, support admin?
You know, the procedure of deployment.
Just answer. Do you have a record of your deployments? Let me ask it like that.
The record is not there.
You don't have any record showing deployments?
Nothing like that.
Okay.
Because they were not properly deployed.
Okay. Do you have a record of all your enforcement officers?
Yes, I have.
And have you annexed it to any of your documents?
Right now, no.
No. Okay. So you do not have the record of the totality of your officers. Are those officers designated to do certain duties?
Enforcement officers are supposed to do enforcement duties.
No, just answer my question.
Yes.
Are the total population of the enforcement officers in your portfolio assigned to duties?
They are assigned to
Okay.
duties.
Is there a record showing that this one is supposed to be at the hospital, this one is supposed to be at the stadium, this is supposed to be at the county offices? Is there a record showing?
That is.
Okay. And it is true you haven't brought that to this county assembly, to the Senate, have you?
The summons.
Please answer my question. For purposes of saying in certain individuals, some 20 people went to the governor's brother's house. And for purposes of saying there are people working at the deputy governor's house, not meant to be there. Have you brought the deployment record showing where those people are supposed to have been deployed to?
No, Mr. Speaker.
You haven't. Now, you said one of the criteria you used to come and testify to this Senate is that there were no letters of deployment, isn't it?
They were not officially deployed.
Did you use the word letters of deployment?
Yes.
A few minutes ago.
About the four
So the
officers.
20 plus the 4, have you brought us the deployment letter so that this Senate can know very clearly that this person who went to the deputy governor's house or the one who is working at the deputy governor's house had a letter of deployment to a different place, but is erroneously in a different place? Have you given us their letters of deployment?
No.
Okay. And you've also said, or rather, let me ask you, do you have an HR manual at the county assembly?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. You haven't given us that manual, have you?
No.
Okay. Who are the enforcement officers answerable to?
Enforcement officers are answerable to me as the
You.
director of enforcement.
To you. Okay. And that's what the manual says. The HR manual says they're answerable to you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. In the body of that manual, is there anywhere which designates the deputy governor as one of the people to whom they are answerable to?
No.
Okay. And lastly, you say you've come here to tell us what the sub-county ward administrator told you, isn't it?
It is my deputy in charge of sub-counties.
Yes, but that's not the question I've asked you. I've asked you, as you stand here, your testimony to this Senate is what the sub-county ward admin told you, isn't it?
No.
It is based on?
On my deputy who's in charge of sub-counties.
And how did he get that information again?
He did investigations.
And he communicated to the sub-county ward administrator? Is it?
Communicated to the sub-county admin, not to ward administrator.
Now, if we really wanted to know for a fact that indeed 20 people went to the deputy governor's house, that indeed there are people who are not deployed, the best person would have been that sub-ward county admin, isn't it? That is the person who has raw information, is the one who is immediate, isn't it?
Yeah, but he failed to report.
Sorry?
He failed to report.
That's not what I've asked you. I'm saying that is the person who would have told this Senate directly that I know for a fact that there are 4 people working there who have not been designated to work there, and there are 20 people who went to deputy governor's house. That is the person who would say that, isn't it? From personal knowledge.
The enforcement officers.
Please understand my question. My question is, the person who has personal knowledge of whether or not there are 4 people working at the deputy governor's house, and whether or not 20 people went to effect arrest, is the sub-county ward admin, isn't it? That is the person right on the ground.
There is a sub-county commander who reports to me.
Okay. So who knows for a fact, who is the most immediate person to the vicinity of the house of the deputy governor and who would know which people went to his house? Who would be?
The sub-county enforcement commander.
Sub-county enforcement commander, isn't it? That is the person who would have told this Senate directly what happened, isn't it?
The sub-county commander reports to me.
Sorry? Reports to you. But as a question of witness, that would have been the best witness for the Senate to know for a fact whether what you're saying is true or not, isn't it? You're telling us what you are told. It's not what you know.
Mr. Speaker, I'm in charge of the Directorate of Enforcement.
And what you are telling the Senate is what the sub-county enforcement commander told you, isn't it?
Yes.
And I know my colleague, Mr. Mutuma, asked you whether you came here under coercion, whether you are threatened, whether and so on and so forth. Why was it necessary to be careful about that? Why was it necessary that they take precaution that you do not be seen as a weaponized witness? Why was it necessary to do that?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I am in charge of.
No. That's asking. Why defensive when nobody has made an accusation against you? Why is there that defensive sense that you might have a weaponized witness? Why?
I learned that my director of enforcement is implicated in this case.
Okay. Now, is it true that the sub-county enforcement commander knows for a fact that the 4 people working at the deputy governor's place are designated to do that job and was not ready to come and lie, and that you are the only one who was available to give a distorted truth of the fact?
Mr. Speaker, I came here as the in charge of enforcement and compliance, Kisii County government.
Why didn't the person not come?
I take responsibility as the in charge.
To you that it is because you are more malleable and because you've been acting for forever, and you are hoping that by giving this testimony, you will graduate into a confirmed position.
Honorable Senators, that's not true.
Now, as we speak today, Honorable Speaker, can I just have 3? I'll be done.
Very well, Council.
Thank you
Conclude in
very
the
much,
next
sir.
3 minutes.
As you speak today, do you know where all the population of your enforcement officers are?
Yes, I know.
Since when?
This morning.
Since this morning. So before that, when you are acting, when you are deputy, all that, you never knew where your people are, including the 20 that went to arrest and the 4 that were deputy governors. You didn't know.
You asked as I'm seated, I'm standing here.
Yes. And before that, did you know?
I know.
Did you know?
I know.
I'm not asking about today. We are talking about your testimony saying there are 4 people in deputy governor's place you didn't know.
I know about the 4. And I said here that I complained to my boss.
After the impeachment
Before
proceedings.
the impeachment motion.
Sorry?
Before the impeachment motion.
Have you given us any document?
No.
Showing that you had raised any issues before that?
No, but I can provide evidence.
Lastly, did you say that the deputy governor is not entitled to be designated any staff to assist him? Is that your position?
I talked about the enforcement officers. There are no provision.
I will ask you again. Is the deputy governor entitled to some staff at the expense of the county?
I know.
They are entitled.
They are entitled, but not enforcement officers.
Okay. Now, as you testify today, do you have anything to tell this assembly that indeed the people who are designated to serve the deputy governor are this and this, and instead of those ones, these ones went? Do you have anything to show that there's a variance between the people intended vis-a-vis the people who are actually there?
I could not be having the evidence.
Answer my questions directly. Do you have any document to say Hagai was supposed to be there, but instead of Hagai, it is somebody else?
Any re-examination?
I'll be very brief, Honorable Speaker. David, you have been asked whether you have identified the personal staff of the deputy governor and your enforcement officers. The question is, do personal staff of the governor, deputy governor, under your direct control?
No.
And are you here speaking about his personal staff or your own staff?
I came to talk about enforcement officers.
Now, you've also been asked whether you have brought a document complaining about the 4 officers, about the report that you forwarded to your boss, correct?
Yeah.
Do you have your complaint letter about the 4 officers?
The complaint about the 4 officers, it was done immediately. I resumed office.
And it was done before the impeachment?
And it was done before the impeachment.
Now, you've also been asked whether it is you who ought to have come here, or it was your deputy director at the sub-county level. The question is, who complained
at the county assembly level?
I raised the complaint.
You raised a complaint. Are you the author of the statement at the county assembly level?
I am.
Is it pursuant to that statement that you are summoned?
That is true.
Now, you've also been asked about whether you have brought documents or records about the deployment of the 20 enforcement officers and whether the employment letters for your officers. Now, when did you receive the summons?
I received the summons yesterday.
And when you received the summons, to your understanding, what were you coming to speak to?
I was come and they talk about the deployment of the enforcement officers.
And if you had enough time, would you supply those documents?
Yes.
You have also been asked whether the record, whether you have done the investigations correctly, correct?
Yeah.
And the question is, what did the preliminary investigations report reveal to you, to the extent that you're not able to mention the name of the 4 officers or the 20 enforcement officers this morning?
The preliminary report indicates that it is true. 20 enforcement officers were mobilized and deployed to execute an operation. And about the four,
are investigations complete?
The investigation are on.
They're ongoing. So are you able to reveal the names of the said enforcement officers at this juncture?
I am able to reveal the names of all enforcement officers that are attached to Nyaribari Judges account.
My question is, while investigations are ongoing, would you compromise the investigations by revealing the names of the officers at this point?
No.
Now, I believe you're a permanent and a pensionable employee of the county government, correct?
Yes.
So who is your employer?
Kisii County Government.
Were you recruited by the county government, the County Public Service Board?
Yes.
So who is do you serve under the mercy of the governor?
No, I serve for the county government of Kisii.
Now, you mentioned, or you have also been asked, the person who deployed the 20 enforcement officers, you correctly put was who?
The sub-county administrator and the sub-county commander.
Does the sub-county administrator have the mandate to deploy?
No.
And is that the reason why even your own deputy did not have the knowledge of it?
Yes.
That's a Honorable Speaker. I cede the witness to the members.
Thank you. The witness may retire. Now we're going to move to hear the case of the deputy. Yes, Honorable Senator Kisii, what is your intervention?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Speaker. I just have a point of clarification I hope that you can guide. It's with regard to the summons letter that was sent after your directive yesterday through the clerk's office for the witness to appear in front of us. I just wanted a clarification as to whether the summons indicated or outlined the documentation and the material evidence that this witness would need to appear with here this morning, and also if he would need to have them in 67 copies for each senator to have, just so that we understand what was required of him to bring when appearing to us. Thank you.
Could I get a copy of the summons so that we are very clear on the contents of the summons? Yes, Senator Fernandi, what is your clarification?
Just a quick one to the witness, Mr. Speaker, sir. The acting sub-county acting deputy director, I have only 3 questions. One, these 4 officers that were deployed at the DG's office, when were they deployed? Because you are saying there are 20 that were sent to assist in the arrest, and you are saying there were 4 from your letter, from your document, that were illegally and unlawfully sent there. So when was the date? Do you have those facts? Number 2, in your report, you have said, in your report, I'm trying to go quickly, Speaker, you have said acting deputy director of enforcement has said that that some enforcement officers at the DG's home are doing manual work is a matter under investigation. Are you aware what these 4 officers were doing? And finally, Mr. Speaker, because there are only 3, are you able to provide, have you ever, as the acting deputy director or as the acting director, have you able to visit the DG's home and check what your officers are doing there? And finally, how long have you been acting as at that position? I thank you, Speaker.
Witness, proceed to.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I said about 4 enforcement officers. I landed immediately. I received office on 11th August 2023, and I've hit a complaint in writing. About the 20 enforcement officers, it came to my knowledge when the motion was being discussed at the county assembly. Honorable Speaker, the issue about enforcement officers doing manual, as reported by my deputy director in charge of sub-counties, is a matter that is under investigations. And once the investigation is complete, I shall report to my chief officer who is in charge of my department. About visiting the home of His Excellency the Deputy Governor, I can attest that I've visited there once when I immediately received office. And this is the time I realized that there are 4 enforcement officers who are deployed there without any documentation, and I have complained about it. How long I've acted? This is the 7th month now, since 11th August of 2023.
Senator Chute, any question or clarification you're seeking?
Question, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I have 2 questions. Question number 1 is to the witness. How long have you worked as in the capacity of acting director? Number 2, the 4 officers who were deployed at the deputy governor's house, who is supposed to take responsibility? Is it the deputy governor or your office? Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I was appointed to act as the acting director of enforcement on the 11th August 2023, and that means that I've been acting for the last 7 months. About the 4 enforcement officers who are working at the deputy governor without official deployment, I take the responsibility. And I've said before this Senate that immediately I learned about this development, I wrote a complaint letter to the chief officer in charge, asking him to seek to take it up.
Senator Enoch, what's your clarification?
Thank you, Speaker. To the witness. Question number 1, when exactly did you get to know about the mobilization and deployment of officers to the home of the deputy governor? Secondly, according to your own records, the incident happened on 20th of December, 2023, but the first letter that you've written on this matter is on 1st of March. Why did it take too long for you to demand an explanation? And lastly, at the time of your demand letter to your deputy, had the impeachment proceedings against the deputy governor started? Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I learned about the deployment of the 20 officers at the Assembly when the motion of impeachment was being discussed. And upon learning that, as an officer who is in charge of that directorate, I felt that my department is implicated, and I thought it's prudent for me to take a statement and shed more light about that incident. That is on 29th of February 2024. The following day was 1st March. That is when I wrote a letter to my deputy director in charge of sub-counties, instructing him to start investigations and report to my office what transpired on that date of 29th December 2023, and explain to me why this information did not reach our office. On 4th of March, my deputy writes to me after undertaking preliminary investigations, and he confirms to me that indeed the 20 enforcement officers were mobilized and they assisted in the arrest of our deputy governor, his brother, at his home at Keumbu. And why it take long, Honorable Senate, is a question that all of us we need to understand that this occurrence is happening in the home, the home of a deputy governor, and the sub-county commander is involved in this arrangement, and the sub-county admin. The reason why they did not report to me as usual is an issue that that requires further investigations and disciplinary action taken against them. And I've recommended in my letter, if you can see, the letter I did dated 8 March 2024 to the chief officer, that the sub-county, the second last paragraph, the sub-county administrator and the sub-county commander failed to report to office as required of them. Reason well known to them, and I forwarded the chief officer for further action.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would like to ask the witness one, who is in charge of civil servants at the sub-county level? And two, what position did you serve before being appointed acting director of enforcement?
Honorable Speaker, at the sub-county level, the person who is in charge of enforcement officers is the sub-county enforcement commander, who reports also to the sub-county administrator. The sub-county commander reports to my office directly on matters of enforcement. Upon the position I held before I became the acting director of enforcement, I have been the deputy director of enforcement in charge of Kisii municipality.
Now, as regards to the issue raised by Senator Crystal Lasige, I will read the summons so that you may appreciate the contents of the summons. To Mr. David Hagai Oyagi, whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act 2012, on Thursday, the 29th of February 2024, the Kisii County Assembly approved a motion for removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Dr. Robert Onsare Monda, the Deputy Governor of Kisii County. And whereas by a letter dated Wednesday, 1st March 2023, and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate, on the 2nd of March 24, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Kisii informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of the motion by the County Assembly, and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents and evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly. And whereas pursuant to Section 33(5) of the County Governments Act, Cap 265, and Standing Order 81B2 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate, at a sitting held on Thursday, the 7th of March 2024, resolved to investigate the matter in plenary within 10 days. And whereas following the resolution of the Senate at a sitting held on Thursday, the 7th of March 2024, the clerk of the Senate issued invitation to appear to the County Assembly of Kisii and to the Deputy Governor of Kisii County, inviting them to appear and be represented before the Senate during its investigations and to file with the Office of the Clerk of the Senate various documents relating to the matter. And further, by a letter reference CAK/3/1/C/CS/002, 2024, dated the Friday, 8th of March, 2024, Honorable Dr. Philip M. Nyanumba, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Kisii, in response to the invitation to appear and pursuant to Rule 10 of the third schedule to the Senate Standing Orders, requested the Senate to summon you to appear before the Senate. And further, whereas by the Speaker's ruling made during the hearing of the Senate on Wednesday, the 13th of March 2024, the Senate acceded to the request by Honorable Dr. Philip M. Nyanumba, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Kisii, on behalf of the County Assembly of Kisii. And whereas Article 125 of the Constitution, Sections 18 and 20 of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6, and Rule 10 of the third schedule to the Senate Standing Orders, empower the Senate or its committees to summon any person to appear before it for purpose of giving evidence or providing information. Now, therefore, the Senate hereby summons you to appear before the Senate in person on Thursday, the 14th of March, 2024, at 2 p.m. at the Senate Chamber, Main Parliament Building, Nairobi, to do the following. 1, produce your appointment letter. 2, confirm if the persons who are said to be working in the Deputy Governor's home are officials in the county. Take note that should you fail to attend before the Senate on the date and time specified in this summons, or to produce the documentation required by the Senate may impose upon you a fine not exceeding 500,000 shillings, or may order for your arrest pursuant to sections 19(1) and 19(3), respectively, of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6, and 2, you shall also be guilty of an offense as stipulated under section 27(1)(a)(1) and 27(1)(c)(2), respectively, of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6, for which you shall be liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 shillings, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months, or to both such fine and imprisonment. Given under my hand for and on behalf of the Senate, this 13th day of March 2024, signed by J.M. Nyegenye, CBS, Clerk of the Senate. Honorable Sige, I hope then that clarifies your issue. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for giving us that clarification. Yes, you mentioned the 2 items that he was required to appear for and with, and one is his appointment letter, as I've heard correctly, and to confirm about the officers that have been spoken about here. Thank you very much.
Senator Christo. Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When the witness was answering the question, he was asked by Senator Wambua, I think he contradicted himself, because when the lawyer was asking him questions, he said that he's aware of where his officers are all the time. every day, but this particular one, he said that he was not aware until when at the count assembly. Can you clarify that, Mr. Speaker?
Proceed, witness.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to say that it's true, I'm aware all the time where my are. But in this particular case is an unusual one, whereby enforcement officers are mobilized, deployed, go and an arrest without any report to my office. And that's why when I learned of this, Honorable Speaker, I took an action of instructing the deputy to explain why this lapse of not reporting to my office. And the report that my deputy gave is that account data and the account command were in charge of this failed to report, reason unknown to them, and I have advised that action be taken against them. Thank you.
Senator Kakuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine are just two simple questions. I want to go, the witness to go on record. Mr. Witness, under whose command are the enforcement officers in Kisii County government? And number two, does the deputy governor have a mandate on deployment of these enforcement officers? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The county enforcement of Kisii are under the command of the enforcement. And whether the deputy governor has the right to command enforcement officers, no.
Senator Kakuri.
The name, speaking name of the director.
Proceed, witness.
Honorable Speaker, the director of enforcement is the witness standing before the Senate, and I'm acting in that capacity. And my name is David Hagai Oyagi. I'm in charge of the enforcement officers.
Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Could the witness kindly tell us before he became the deputy what he was doing? And secondly, whether there's a routine duty roster? And thirdly, when there is a crisis, how they allocate the duties and who sits in that meeting? Thank you, Speaker.
Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, before I joined, I assumed office of the Director of Enforcement. I was the deputy director, but in charge of the municipality. And about the deployment and how we react, normally in these operations, if there's an incident happening at the sub-county level, the person who's in charge of those officers is the sub-county enforcement commander, who reports to directors directly through the deputy director of enforcement sub-counties. And once the office is aware, we take charge of that activity and we monitor closely so that we can be able to report accordingly.
Senator Manzo.
Now, in this particular activity, whereby there was an arrest and there was 20 officers, did you direct it? Did you sanction it?
Honorable Speaker, I want to respond by saying that this particular case or incident happening on 29th of December 2023, I didn't sanction it. I was not aware about it. Actually, as I've said in this house, is that I learned it at the assembly. And that's why when I came to my knowledge that one of the reasons that Honorable Deputy Governor is being impeached on is the issue of deployment of the enforcement of the arrest is brother.
Senator Bone.
Speaker, my clarification arises from the assertion by the counsel for the G that the witness was at the pleasure of the governor of Kisii. Mr. Speaker, the county section 35 gives the governor the responsibility to form and appoint, with approval of the county assembly, the county executive committee. The same act in section 59 gives the power of appointment of the rest of the staff to the county public service board, which appointed the witness. So my clarification is, in view of this provision, is the counsel of the defendant going to be magnanimous enough to come and rescind that statement so that it is not in record that this witness serves at the pleasure of the governor of Kisii and that he is appearing this morning purely to canvass to be confirmed in his acting capacity? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Council for DJ.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the question and the fact that the witness acts in an acting capacity was the reason for the contention that he acted under the pleasure, not direction, at the pleasure of the governor, who will ultimately, following directions from the county public service board, be responsible to his final substantive appointment.
Very well. I'll allow the witness to retire and now proceed with the defense of the deputy governor. Counsel for deputy governor, it is now time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our witness is Mr. Joseph Misati. Mr. Speaker, sir, do I proceed or I hold on?
Now, counsel for the deputy governor, you have 4 hours to put your defense. Depending on how many witnesses you intend to call, you need them to work within those 4 hours. And we are going to adjourn at exactly 1 p.m. to reconvene at 2:30. So kindly have that in mind. You have 4 hours within which to put your case forth.
Before my time starts running,
It's already running.
Could I request for 2 accommodations, Mr. Speaker, sir? You recall yesterday when we dealt with the first witness, we had a situation where the time tended to go out of hand because there was no limitation, both in terms of evidence in chief and cross-examination. Subsequently, we had a situation where you required of us to declare what time we need in evidence in chief and cross-examination. And I would request that we adopt the same approach so that my colleagues for the county do not squander my time in the course of cross-examination.
Now, Council, if we may adopt we've just had this witness who just retired. If you can be able to just adopt the time indication as we've observed with this witness, I think that would be a good guiding principle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Examination took 20 minutes, cross-examination 15 minutes, re-examination 10 minutes.
This witness is fairly substantive. I intend to use 30 minutes, but I will manage my time.
So then, Council, let's agree this way, that your examination, evidence in chief, you'll do 30 minutes.
Yes, yes.
Cross-examination then will take 15 minutes, re-examination 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, if you allow me, because you've given directions as to cross-examination. And yesterday we were dealing with the crucial witness, my lad senior, Mr. Keegan, took approximately 1 hour, 20 minutes with the key witness. We may not be much interested with the witness that he has now just subpoenaed, but when it comes to the real culprit, we request the Senate to relax so that we effectively bring out the fictitious story.
Let's cross the bridge when you get there.
Number two, Mr. Speaker, sir, perhaps our senior needs to put on record his appearance so that we strangers.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my name is Katwa Keegan, and the witness I'm calling is Mr. Misati, assisted by my office assistant, Mr. Sagini. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I thought you'd require of my colleague to withdraw the use of the word culprit.
That is unparliamentary, and therefore I order that to be expunged from the record.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and he has whispered an apology to me, and I accept it.
The counsel for the county assembly was alleging a presence of a stranger in the representation.
May I explain, Mr. Speaker, sir?
Counsel for the county assembly, are you now comfortable?
Well, the best of our remembrance is that Mr. Katwa Keegan did indicate his appearance yesterday, and therefore we expect and anticipate that the same shall not be adjusted to suit his circumstances.
Proceed, Counsel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
It's okay. It's okay. I, Joseph Joel Misati, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I give before the Senate in respect of the matters before the Senate shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
We proceed directly. Could you tell for the record your full name, or you've given the full names? What do you do?
Me, I am a retired civil servant, and for my living, I've got some small businesses, and I have some dairy cows.
So you have dairy cows. Your son yesterday said you also run an M-Pesa business?
That's it. That's why I've said that I've got small businesses, including M-Pesa.
Okay, I'll just ask so that the Senate has the benefit of understanding you. How old are you, if you don't mind?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am 68 years old.
And you said you're a retired civil servant. What were you doing before your retirement?
Pardon?
What were you doing before your retirement in civil service?
Me, in the civil service, I was a livestock officer in veterinary section.
Okay. And lastly, do you have any religious affiliation and any church standing? Do you have any religious affiliation and do you enjoy the office in church? If you do.
Mr. Speaker, sir, by religion, I am a Catholic. And even when I was in Form 1, I tried to go to Rakoro Seminary, where I intended to be a priest, but I fell on the way.
Okay, and so you are a Catholic as we speak now?
Right.
Okay. And Dennis, who was a witness yesterday, is your son, is it true?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
And I would like you to be shown the honorable members, the Deputy Governor's defense, page 59, 9 to 62. I would like you to be shown that page 59 to 62. Do you have it? Could you confirm that is a statement that you made in respect to this case?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Now, do you know Dr. Monda?
Mr. Speaker, sir, very well.
You know him. How do you know him?
His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kisii County, Dr. Robert Munda. We have known each other more than 32 years.
You have been friends for over 32 years. Yeah. And apart from being friends, have you stated in your affidavit that you worked together also at various points in your civil service?
Mr. Speaker, sir, yes.
You've worked together. Now I'd like to move on because of time, and before we go into the details, yes, you are aware, you know what the Dr. Monda, your friend, has been accused of, being that he received a bribe from your son and that he threatened your son. You're aware of those allegations?
The allegation, yes.
You are aware.
Yes, I do.
You also heard what your son said in testimony, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, so let's start with the first thing that your son admitted. Is it true that indeed throughout the issues that this Senate is going to consider, whenever your son needed anything, he would tell you and then Deputy Governor?
No, please.
Did the governor have a direct conversation with Dennis?
Mr. Speaker, no.
There's no point at which the two of them spoke directly together, isn't it?
It's me who do direct communication to His Excellency Deputy Governor.
Okay. It is true that the two of you, having been friends, are exchanging favors in terms of money, stocks, and goodwill. Is that correct? For the 32 years.
Mr. Speaker, sir, correct.
He also that he returned from Nairobi to Kisii, to your home state. Is that correct? At a certain point in the year 2023.
If I may explain, I say no. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is me who reallocated my son to move from Nairobi to homeland Kisii.
Yes, so that's what I was asking you. So basically, it is true that he moved from Nairobi to Kisii sometime in the year 2023, isn't it?
Somewhere 2023, and he came alone without his wife.
Okay. And it is also true, as he says, that you assisted him to relocate?
It is me who assisted him.
To relocate?
Yeah.
How did you assist him?
After he said he had been staying in Nairobi for more than 13 years, and there was little communication, me and my son. Now I decided, because I'm itching, I tried now to see how I can bring all my children together. Then I made an effort to look for him. Then somewhere between April and May, between April and May, I called him back to home.
Mr. Misati, just let me manage because of time. Let me just manage what you're saying. So basically, it was, whose idea was it for him to relocate?
Pardon?
Whose idea? Was it your idea or?
It was my idea,
It
Mr.
was
Speaker.
your idea, and you facilitated his relocation.
Correct.
Okay, let's move on then. Now, he says that your testimony, both at the assembly and your testimony today, which is captured in your statement, is meant to cause him to lose his money. What do you have to say about that?
But what?
That you want him to lose, what you're doing is to frustrate him getting back his money. What do you have to say about that?
That one, because I've not reached there, I don't know which money.
Okay, okay, then you want us to deal with that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll change my approach, then we come back. Let's then talk about the real issue that we are here about. Is it true that a certain sum of money was paid out to Dr. Monda on the 28th of May 2023?
Mr. Speaker, yes.
It is true. Could you tell this Senate, this Honorable Senate, how that money was paid?
Mr. Speaker, sir, on 28th of May 2023, as usual and as friends, it is me who made appointment to see His Excellency the Deputy Governor at his home. And when I went with my 3 sons to his home. And as we were seated, he had some social discussions, he and the Deputy Governor, about 20 meters from where I left my sons. And that's the time the TG told me that he had given me money somewhere in October, November 2022 after the elections, 500 shillings. Now he asked me whether I'm in the position to refund his money. And in that connection, I told him, yes, I can try to refund the money. Then from my joint account with my wife, I transferred money from my account to His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, 73 times, and then 41,000, making 251. Now, because as we were discussing, he told me that he needs some money in cash. Then I told him now, because I don't have money in cash, what I'll do is to instruct my wife so that he can send money to my son, Dennis. And my wife did that by sending 250,000 in that process to go on to withdraw in the nearest market. But when we tried to get that money, it was late. And there was no which had that float. Therefore, I instructed my son to transfer that money to his deputy governor, to His Excellency the Deputy Governor, Dr. Monda.
Okay. So I would like to look at your statement and just to take the honorable senators through the payments. And I would like you to go to page 60, paragraph 11 of your statement. And I would like to correlate that with page 65 to 66, page 11, page 65 to 66. Are you at page 65? Okay, in paragraph 11, 251 directly from my cooperative bank. You can see at paragraph 11.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
And then, so you pay 7,003 times and 40,000. Like to do 65, are you at page 65?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
You confirm at page 65 that the remittances of 70,000 is reflected 3 times there? At
Yes,
page
Mr.
65?
Speaker.
And I want you to turn over to page 66. Is it true that 41,000 is shown there?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
And could you confirm that this is money that was put of your account, the joint account of yourself and your wife, directly to the M-Pesa account of Dr. Monda?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. And the name of the account is Joseph D. Misati and Anna N. Misati. Correct. Okay. Now let's move on to paragraph 12. At paragraph 12, you said I thereafter asked my wife to remit the balance of 249,000. I instructed her to remit the amount to my son Dennis. You can see that.
Correct.
I would like to take you to page 75. '75 to '88, and I want us to go specifically to page 87. Page 87. Your voice and better statement is page. Honorable members, I would like to go to page 88 particularly.
Yes.
Could you confirm that between the hours 1944, sorry, between the hours 1944 and 01, your wife remitted the sum of 50,000, 50,000, and 150,000 to Dennis Misati as he appears on the face of that pencil?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
And that constitutes how much?
250,000, Mr. Speaker.
250,000. Now, what was the purpose of this of the money?
The purpose of this remittance to my son Dennis.
So I mean, so we've seen you put 150 from your cooperative account and 255 through Dennis, isn't it?
That's correct.
And you sent to Dr. Monda, isn't it?
I instructed my son to.
That's okay. So you said it to Dr. Monda, this total of 500, isn't it?
Correct.
What were you giving this 500,000 to Dr. for? What
it was a refund, Mr. Speaker, sir. The money which he gave me in November, October 2022.
So it was a refund.
Yeah.
Number two, whose money was this?
The money was mine.
It was ours. Sorry?
It was ours.
What does ours mean?
It mean me, my wife.
It was you and your wife. Was that Dennis part of the ownership of that money, the 500,000?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Then is that he given you this, were holding this money on his behalf, and that he gave you in cash. Is that true?
It's untrue, Mr. Speaker.
It's not true that he had given you any money. It is not true that he had given you any money.
It's not true he gave me any money.
Okay. This money was yours with your wife.
Correct, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Now, and your position is that it was a refund. Was it a bribe?
No, Mr. Speaker, sir.
It was a refund, not a bribe.
Yeah, so it was a refund.
Okay. Now, let's just digress a little before we come back to the 300,000. You say you wanted the first of all, how free was it?
Okay, no, you see now I'm not counting the driver.
Okay. So well, many sons did you? Four sons, and yourself. You are
And
five
myself.
people in deputy governor's house.
Correct, Mr. Speaker.
Initiated the idea of going to the governor.
Mr. Speaker, it's me.
It is you who said. Who? How did you initiate it?
This is not the first time. If I need to,
Just go ask the question directly.
it's pardon.
Just answer my question directly. How was the idea of going to the governor?
Through a call.
By who?
By me.
To who?
To His Excellency the Deputy Governor.
So it is you who requested to go and see him.
Correct.
And when your son says in his statement and in his affidavit that it is the deputy governor who summoned you, is that correct?
No,
That's
Mr.
not
Speaker,
correct.
sir.
Okay, let's move on. Now, you said, were you then five people seated together, six people, you, deputy governor, and your four sons, were you seated together when this money is changing hands?
No, we were not seated together, and I think I'm repeating that after we entered his house, me, the Deputy Governor, His Excellency, Dr. Robert Monda, we moved aside about 20 meters to have our own social discussions.
So you went aside, the two of you, and the boys remained 20 meters away.
That is it.
Did they participate in your conversation?
No, Mr. Speaker, sir.
And then he says they sat far away from you and that they did not participate in your conversation. That is genuine.
That is true.
Okay. Now, then at paragraph 14, it is said that you received another 300,000 that was given to the governor. Paragraph 14, it is said, paragraph, okay, this says there was another 300,000 that was given in cash. What do you have to say in respect to that 300,000?
Mr. Speaker, sir, that's untrue, because if you look at my balance in the cooperative bank, I had money if I were to give the 800 alleged.
And I just want you to answer directly. Did you, Denny says you and him worked in the office at the stoop and handed over 300,000 in cash. That's what Denny says. You've seen that, isn't it?
Yes.
And my question is that
Mr. Speaker,
it's not true.
it's not true.
Okay. Did you give the deputy governor 300,000 above the 500? Is there any other, apart from 500 that we've seen, is there another that you gave him?
Anyway, I've given you the 300,000.
That's as Denny says. Okay. Now, I would like to move on to paragraph 17. It says that it has been reported to EACC. You are aware that the contention that it has been reported to EACC, isn't it?
No, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You're not aware.
I'm not.
But you are aware that Denny says he has reported to EACC.
Yeah, I
You've heard from this. The bank statement, the bank account from which the money was done is your cooperative bank account and your wife's M-Pesa account, isn't it?
That is.
Has EACC summoned you to record a statement on that issue?
No, Mr. Speaker, sir.
They haven't.
Up to date.
Has your wife been summoned on this issue?
Yes.
Okay. Now, it is said also that Dennis wrote a demand letter for the payment by Dennis, isn't it? A demand letter.
I've not seen that letter.
A minute. You're aware that Dennis says he wrote a demand letter to the deputy governor saying, give me back my 800,000. That claim, Dennis, isn't it?
That claim, yes.
You saw that. Is it true that you have ever seen a demand letter from Dennis? Have you seen any letter of any letter demanding?
No, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You not see. He said also by Dennis that threats were made at him. Dennis said the deputy governor threat. You've seen that.
I've not seen that, Mr. Speaker.
And I'm saying you are aware that Dennis says he threatened
me. I threatened him.
No. So Dennis says that the deputy governor threatened him, threatened Dennis.
No, please.
No, I'm saying aware of that claim by
Okay, I'm
Dennis.
aware.
You are aware. Now, are you aware of the threat to Governor Dennis?
No.
Okay. Now, you say that threat communicated to you that will go and tell Dennis to go away, or because he's trying to climb a mountain he cannot climb. That's what it is. But to communicate to the Mr. The deputy governor said your position is never sent any threat. Then it is also said the Dennis sold a saloon. Are you aware of any saloon that Dennis had and was sold? You any for long and just yeah. Correct. Would you confirm that at page 6, at paragraph 6 of your affidavit, you said how you have been consoling each other when you have bereaved together with the deputy governor. Just
Yes.
back to the paragraph for the benefit of the honorable Senator.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Specifically, Dr. Mora was there and you lost your mother. For him, when he lost his in the year one, he lost his together.
That's
okay. In paragraph in and you also exchange the alphabet stock as stated in paragraph 5.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
And then at page 67 of the paragraph before you see the month of January 2024, all you've borrowed a total sum of 6,000 from Dr. Mula.
Yeah, about 600 from
use. And that you've captured at page 67 the various amounts.
Correct.
Okay. Then at page 117A, at page 117, there's another amount of 50,000. Could you go to 117? So the one we were just talking about at page 68, 71, and 70 was in the month of January 2024, is it?
Yeah.
And at page 117A, you received another 50,000. You received that 50,000.
His Excellency.
Is it true you received some of 50,000 in the year 2014?
Yes, Your Excellency.
And who is Joyce Monda?
Joyce Monda.
Actually, Joyce Onsare, let's say
Joyce Onsare.
Yes, who is she?
Is the wife of the Deputy Governor of Kisii.
Okay. And what was the basis of this money? What was it?
This is a usual transaction making by borrowing, refunding, receiving, and
okay. Lastly, in terms of the favors you give each other, I would like you to look at page 108 to 117. 108 to 117 is the bank statement of one Leah Onsare. Can you see that?
Yes.
Page 108 to 117. Who is Leah Onsare?
Leah Onsare.
Leah, who is she?
Leah Yanjera is the daughter of His Excellency the Deputy Governor.
And is it at page 111, there is a sum of 100,000 from Joseph, Misati, and Anna. That is your joint account. There is Joseph, Misati, Anna. You can see that?
Yes.
200,000.
Yes.
Yes. Could you tell the court what was happening? Sorry, the Senate, what was happening there?
This money, stopped to send this money. Why? As usual, we have been assisting each other. Yes. And that is
Who needed the money?
it is I was instructed by the DG to send money to his daughter.
Who needed the money? Was it the DG or what is the point?
The money was needed by his daughter.
So the daughter needed money, and wasn't the DG sending the money?
That I could explain.
Okay. Now, Mr. Misati, just look at me. Did you see the deputy governor instructed you? Did he give you instructions or?
Okay, you know English. He requested me.
So he was instructing you. Lastly, I now still have 5 minutes. Lastly, you said that you son said you were lying. Unasema uongo ukikuja hapa. What do you just call that? That lie?
That's I can say that's not true.
You're not
Because,
lying.
no, I love all my sons.
Yes.
I have 6 sons in total.
Yes.
And of them, except one, they have gone through their graduates, others have done masters.
Graduate already. Masters. And you love all of them.
I love them equally. That's why you can also this.
Yes.
That's why I usually, when I want to go someplace, they accompany me.
They take you with them because you are a parent. And that's why from Nairobi?
And I think if I'm bit that if when somebody is going
Okay,
to
I am out of time. I just want to say,
okay, I
was
want
it
them
out
just
of
to be near me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it out of a desire to punish him or out of affection that you needed to take care of his affair?
I wanted just to come near me and get some blessings before.
Okay. To take blessings. Yeah. What again? Was you want to withdraw that?
Yeah.
Okay. Appearing here with your a national senate to enter awards with him. How do you feel?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm really sad. Very sad because this is my son and it's me who paid his school fees. His daughter who's schooling at St. Mary's Nyahururu boarding.
So you take care of the fees for his daughter? Yes.
Yeah.
And is there any relationship between the paying of fees for his daughter and the 600 you borrowed from Dr. Monda in January 2024?
The 600 which His Excellency the Deputy Governor gave me in January in various dates, some of the money I used to pay school fees for my granddaughters, including the Dennis's daughter. Okay. Only, you can allow me, only after paying school fees, my son from
just want to hand you for cross-examination, but before I do that, could you confirm, even after this session, do you still love your son? I don't still love him, notwithstanding proceedings.
That is my son. I love him. I want him to come back.
And they said his wife had a miscarriage. So of that.
You know, some things that I cannot say because I can say no.
Okay.
Yeah. But only that she told me that she was sick.
Yes.
And then I took the hospital and I used money.
So you relocated him from Nairobi, you paid for his daughter, you took care of his wife.
Correct.
And you're prepared to continue that.
Always.
Okay. And are you happy to have your sons, including this?
That's my son. Now,
Yeah,
very
you're
happy
happy
with
for that.
It's only that when I met you,
okay, I'm handing over, but it is like that you didn't become a priest, isn't it? And you this and that.
But
You will be asked a couple of questions by my colleague. They might not be as polite as I am, just be so.
Honorable Senators, let us now have the council represent the county
Thank
assembly.
you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. It's always a pleasure to listen to my here.
And
Mr. Kigen.
council, you have 15 minutes.
Yes, Mr.
15
Mutumo will
minutes.
take the witness. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to assure my learned friend, I'll be very soon. And according to that, thank you. Mr. Good morning.
Morning.
I will continue from where my learned friend has left. You confirmed that you are aware that the wife to Dennis got sick at some moment and you intervened by taking her to.
I've said yes.
When was it?
I can't recall the date. That's Speaker. But it was
this year or last year?
Somewhere June.
Somewhere June.
Yeah.
That was last year. Last year,
That's
June 2023. And that is the time when the announcement was made on the filling of the recruitment at the Guasco company, isn't it?
No, please.
Is it after or before?
It is after.
After, thank you. You have also said that you have been long-term friends with the deputy governor, and that is very clear from your transactions. That 2 years you said, right?
Correct, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You have been colleagues and he has been your boss and you under him in the veterinary department, correct?
That is true, Mr. Speaker, sir.
And you continued and extended that friendship beyond retirement. Even up to now. You describe that friendship to be very tight and very close, isn't it?
That's one, it's very relative.
But how would you describe your friend?
Friend.
That friendship is close and tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very tight. You would not want then to witness your tight, close friend going down through an impeachment process, would you?
That are true.
Would you want to see your close, tight friend of that 2 years go down through an impeachment process? Would you like to see that?
He's a friend, of course. And anything which is against him, I will never wish that.
Thank you. So then you will do whatever is it within your powers to defend and protect him when he's faced with challenges. He has stood up for you previously.
But not through instructions.
Not through instructions.
Yeah.
But he is your friend and that's something you would willingly do.
It's a willing behavior.
Thank you. You have also said that, and while I'm still at that, you have confirmed in your affidavit appearing at 9 DG's response that you have been earned favors from each, including seeking job opportunities for your children. Is that correct?
Like any other person.
In this case, we are talking about not any other person.
That's correct.
That's correct. You've been seeking.
Not always.
Not always.
Yeah.
Specifically, in this case, you have deponed on affidavit that you did approach the deputy governor and ask him to assist in the employment of your son, Dennis Mokaya. That is correct?
That's true.
That disputing that you approached him and you promised to assist.
I know the one, Mr. Speaker.
Which position were you as in recruitment?
Okay, somewhere in April 2023, there was an advert at Wasco, which I saw it through the newspapers. And because I was trying to bring my son back home, and then I informed my son to go through the website and look.
So it was you who approached your son and notified him of vacancy.
For my son.
Thank you. Subsequently, you asked the deputy governor before shortlisting to assist in that recruitment.
No, please. I went to a governor's place after the interview was done.
After the interview was done, at whatever time. Now, the deputy governor of Kisii does not sit in the interview of Guapo, does he?
Okay, one.
No. Yes or no? Does he not sit in the recruitment of Vasco? Yes.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. How was deputy governor supposed to assist in the recruitment of your son if he doesn't sit in that panel?
By that, the speaker, sir, in any case where you are having some social discussion, there are some things you pass through your friend.
I'm asking you a very simple question. How was the deputy governor supposed to assist in the recruitment for an office he's not in charge of recruitment? How was he supposed to assist? It's a very simple question. How was he supposed to assist?
No, what I repeat is that when you have got something and you have some social discussions with your, you just mention by way.
You were inviting the deputy governor to use his power and influence to secure that job, isn't it? As the deputy governor of Kisii.
That one I never improved.
That's not what I'm asking. The governor was supposed to use his position as the deputy governor to assist in the recruitment, isn't it?
That one I can say yes or no.
It cannot be both, Mr. Witness. We cannot have two
witness, just give the correct position. What is your position on the that you are being asked? These are very straight questions you are asking.
He was supposed to use his position to assist the recruit of your son as your friend, isn't it?
He was not to use his position, but he was to use as a friend, not position of the deputy governor.
But he was supposed to ensure that happens.
That one I cannot say because he got the job.
But suppose he got the job. I'm talking about your request. What was he supposed to do in your understanding to make sure that that job was secured?
What he was to do, that one I cannot tell.
But he was supposed to pull some strings and ensure that happens.
In any way, the way it was to use, I cannot tell the house.
But somehow he was supposed to use some means to have that request.
If he was to use his way or strength or his position, I would have gotten that position.
Thank you. Mr. Mistat, then, if the deputy governor was to intervene in that process of recruitment, would that process be competitive, fair, and just, or it would have been as a result of influence from his position as the deputy governor?
What we are talking now is what happened.
Pardon?
What we are talking now, Mr. Speaker, sir, is what happened.
Yes.
And if the position was competitive and my son was not taken, therefore he never qualified.
But the deputy governor was meant to influence based on your request, because you didn't want any other person to get that job but your son, isn't it?
But you know, influence relative, Mr. Speaker, sir, I can say that
What is your point of order, Senator Sifuna?
Chair, I think you need to remind the witness that he is under oath and his responsibility to answer truthfully and not be evasive or argumentative in his answers, because I'm getting very frustrated listening to the answers I am unable to discern the answers that are coming from the witness.
Okay, Senator Sifuna, from where I sit, you know, I not be able to tell whether it is true or not. He should.
That's what
What he should do, is to answer specifically as
That's what I'm saying. That's
some
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
questions are just a yes or no.
Correct.
But from where I sit, I not be able to tell whether it is truthful or not. The judges
Speaker,
in this room will be able to
Speaker,
determine that.
fortunately for me, you know, I'm sitting here as a judge.
How do you say that?
Yes, please let us.
I don't know that I've known that the serious questions like as this. Let us know with more point of understanding, honorable senators.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Witness, when you approached your friend of the 2 years, the Deputy Governor, on this request, what was his response?
Mr. Here, it's home. It's only that we discuss some social discussions, including looking for employment opportunities of education.
Mr. Witness, my question is specifically, when you made the request for Dennis Mokaya to be employed at GWAS as the commercial manager, what was the response of the Deputy Governor? It's a very clear, and please avoid stories.
Okay, when I mentioned, he just told me that there are some factors which follow for employment, and if he has done the interview and he qualifies according to what the board of management of WASCO, he will be called.
Did he promise to assist or not?
He never promised that he was to assist me.
Let us proceed. You have alleged that on 28th of May, you and Dennis, together with your other sons, visited the Deputy Governor's home, correct?
Mr. Speaker, yes.
It was not usual for you and your son to visit the Deputy Governor. It doesn't happen occasionally, isn't it?
It's usual.
When was the last time you and your sons visited the Deputy Governor?
Okay.
Specifically Dennis, with Dennis.
Okay, Dennis, I told you that he has been away for the last 13 years.
Correct.
Now, as he came back, I want just to show him the love I own towards him. In any function I was going, I want to go with him with others.
That was not a function, Mr. Joseph. It was a visit. Was it a function?
It's a feast. A function, a feast, anything like that.
What was the function about?
A function can be a funeral.
I'm asking this specific one on 28th. Was it a funeral?
No, it was a feast.
Was it a wedding?
It was a feast.
What kind of a feast was it?
Social feast.
How many other people in attendance, apart from you and your sons?
No, there were other feasters who were in a DG's office or house.
You have not mentioned that in your affidavit.
But those ones were of their own company. I cannot mention because I never knew their names.
You also stated that on that very day, you had a discussion with the Deputy Governor and the boys, making reference to your sons, sat at a distance and you engaged the Deputy Governor secretly, correct?
That is true, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You also stated that you sent some money from, rather money was sent from your cooperative account to the Deputy Governor's mobile number. How much was that amount? The one that was sent directly from your account to the Deputy Governor's phone.
Mr. Speaker, sir, 251,000.
251,000.
Yeah.
At that time, your account still had money, a balance of 1.3, correct?
Correct.
What was the essence of then requesting your wife to send money to Dennis, for Dennis to transmit to the Deputy Governor, when you would have done that directly from your cooperative account if it was a debt?
Mr. Speaker, sir, it was for my financial management.
Financial management. stated in your affidavit that I want to refer you to paragraph 12 and kindly read that paragraph. Page 60, Honorable Senators, at the DG's response. This is what you stated under oath. Paragraph 12, kindly read, Mr. Joseph, and save our time.
I then asked my wife to remit the balance of 209,000. I instructed her to remit the amount to my son Misati for him to pay as we sat together. My wife then sent 250,000 to my son Dennis Misati on the same date by remitting remittances of 50,000, 50,000 again, and 150,000, making a total of 250,000.
Proceed to that team.
Then I then instructed my son to remit that's an error there, 249,000. His Excellency the Robert Monda, which he did. The balance of 1,000 partly to cover transaction charges.
There is no mention whatsoever in your affidavit on oath, Mr. Joseph, that that money was sent to your son when withdraw, bring it in cash. That is not stated in this affidavit. You instructed your son specifically to send the money to the deputy governor. That is your statement on oath, isn't it?
Mr. Speaker, sir.
That is your statement on oath, yes or no?
No.
That is what I've just read, Mr. Joseph, and there is a reason why I made you to read. This is what you stated specifically under oath when you had the time to prepare this statement. Isn't it what you stated on oath?
Yes, that is what I stated, but
thank you. You have answered the question. This is what you stated.
Correct.
You have now Senate changing that statement.
I'm not changing. It's after the discussion when we are with the Executive Deputy Governor that he needed some cash.
Mr. Misati, correct. That discussion had taken place by the time you were putting this affidavit into writing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that fact was available to you when making this affidavit. Mr. Speaker, sir, may I have an additional minutes? I have.
This communication was well before we started this witness. And you are aware that we are challenged by time.
5 more minutes, I really.
I was here and done a very good communication, and I don't want to change the rules of the game midway.
Mr. Speaker,
maybe
sir,
1 minute as you wind up.
Kindly, because this has been a difficult business to answer your question.
2 minutes, cancel. 2 minutes on.
Thank you, sir. No, you had that information by the time you were reducing it into an affidavit, isn't it? You had that information that the deputy governor had requested for cash and not through an M-Pesa. That information was with you when you were writing this affidavit.
It was, but
thank you. That's the answer I wanted. Yet you did not reduce it in writing. You are telling us for the first time today at the Senate, isn't it? Today is the first time you're making that allegation at the Senate. That is a very simple question, isn't it? Thank you. You also stated that you were in the company of your son. One of them is your driver, correct?
That's it, Mr. Speaker, sir.
What is the name of your son who is also your driver?
Jared Misati.
That is the person who runs your errands and is very close to you because he's always with you, we presume, as your driver, isn't it?
That's very untrue.
He's always with you as your...
Mr. Speaker, sir.
How would I be lying? I am not giving it. Are you telling us that your own son who is your driver is not your friend and you're not with him most of the times as you make your movements?
Okay, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Is that yes or it's a yes or no?
But I've got some period of explanation before I say yes or no.
Give a yes or no, then I will decide whether to allow you to explain or not.
Can you repeat your question?
I am asking, most of the times, this son you have with your driver is with you and runs errands with you. True. It's correct?
Not true.
Mr. Witness, is there a place you go without him as your driver? You do not drive yourself, he drives you.
Okay. Everywhere I go, because I don't have any other person to drive me, my son, who is at home and who is yet to be employed, and who is older than is always tells me where I want to go.
That's what you should have said from the very beginning. Thank you.
Council, you're 2 minutes over.
Thank you. The very last.
No, no,
Why-
Council, now
just on that issue, I was
Council,
building
now
up
you
on that
are-
issue. Just
You are abusing my magnanimity. Kindly let us get the other. Council.
there will be a lot of prejudice by party if I do not conclude on that issue. Mr. Speaker, you will note that this has been.
It's up to you to utilize the 2 minutes that I give you. You know, if you keep on asking for more time and I've directed you what to do, why don't you shoot your questions that we want to achieve?
The problem, Mr. Speaker,
I
sir,
think,
has been-
honorable senators, if the witness as those witnesses, you are the people. I mean, so honorable I don't want you to neglect the witness on what to say or on not know what to say. And please avoid please exchange with the chair. Let us just to manage this. It's not of which side of please. You. Let me have the other council.
Mr. Speaker, sir, if you may allow me, as the lead counsel, the defense still has 6 more witnesses. The rest of the witnesses, time has been allocated 15 minutes each. We will sacrifice one witness, we will not cross-examine him, and then we allocate that time to this witness, the 15 minutes. We will not examine one of the case, so that we're able to do this case witness. That's the compromise.
Can you name the member of in the minutes?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in place of Thomas Obare Nyabaro, we will not cross-examine that witness. We'll equally not cross-examine Amos Obegi Oderi. So we'll have 10 minutes extra for this witness. We shall allocate 15 minutes trading.
Yes, I will give you 15 minutes for Thomas. I place 15 minutes, strictly 15 minutes, council.
We are most obliged.
No addition, no subtraction.
It's good horse trading.
Maybe those you can't use more than 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Notice that this is a case that needs to be thoroughly cross-examined. Mr. Misati.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You have confirmed that your son, who is your driver, is mostly with you when you are running your errands, correct?
Running my what?
Errands. When you are going about your business, he's the one who is close to you, he's the one who is at home, he's your driver, correct?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Why was it then important for you to send money to Dennis, who is not that close to you, than use your own driver who had a car to go and withdraw that money and bring back?
Mr. Speaker, sir, because the Deputy Governor, His Excellency, Dr. Robert Monda, in our discussion, he said that he needs some cash instead of going to M-Pesa. That is the time I said that I work the money was to remit it to a younger person who will be able to run quickly to the.
Mr. Witness, could your son run faster than your car that is being driven by your son?
But
Is
Mr.
that
Speaker,
what you're telling these senators?
Mr. Speaker,
That indeed Dennis was capable of running faster than a driver with a car.
Mr. Speaker, as we say that I've used to pay my driver, and that's indicating the most trust they told me. In terms of management, I wanted also to show my son Dennis Misati that I love him through saying that man to also know that.
Thank you. That has been noted. You have also claimed at paragraph 4 of Senator one that money that you sent to Dr. Mona was part of the 600,000 that he had lent you, correct? At paragraph 24. You have alleged at paragraph 24 that previously you had received 600,000 from Dr. Mona, correct?
That's in January.
That's in January.
Yes.
And you're claiming part of that money went to pay school fees for Dennis' child, correct?
Among other expenses.
How much money did you spend as school fees to the child of Dennis Okaya?
Miss Speaker, sir.
How much money did you? It's a very straightforward.
60,000 shillings.
60,000 shillings.
Yeah.
And you confirm that it is you who paid that amount directly from your own affidavit?
No.
That is what you state. Can you read that paragraph again? The last sentence, please, and save our time. The amounts were fully proceed from there. And for
my son Dennis, and the special fees
proceed.
The fees for his child was paid.
Thank you. You personally did. Which account did you pay to? What was the mode of payment? And you have evidence of that amount.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, sir, payment, it looks relative. It's not that the money originated from me, and
Mr. Misati, I only have 15 minutes and I want to utilize that very effectively. I'm asking you a very specific question. To what account did you pay? Those accounts, what and evidence? It's very difficult. Please do not, we do not have time for that. We are specific on the 60,000 paid personally to the school.
60,000 paid to pay school fees for my granddaughter. I gave it to one of my sons, including other money to one to pay their school.
You just read to us paragraph 4 that you personally paid. Is that what?
Mr. Speaker, sir.
No. Kind saying, Mr. Misati, isn't that what you read? That you personally paid 60,000?
Personally paid. It's very relative also, Mr. Speaker, sir. But not to indicate where I gave the money and my son,
I urge the House to take note of and allow me to. What is the name of your granddaughter?
Oka
How is she? Currently.
So you took to send
currently.
Yes. I don't know what previously took her.
Thank you. I yield the rest of the minutes to my Mr.
Thank you, Mr. You are saying more specifically the wording of the march and Lucy. We are not aware. You are not aware. I want you to look at page 185, 189 of the same bundle. And the deputy governor, are you aware whether they traveled, you never traveled? Are you aware or you're not aware? I'm not aware. Look at page 189.